Hello, hello everybody. I hope you're doing well this Monday. Hope you're doing well this Monday. I missed streaming even though I didn't stream for 2 days. I missed it. I missed it so much. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Today I touched grass and that's why I'm a little late, so I'm sorry. I didn't really have much time to set up, so sorry, water. I had to get home, and then I got home at like 2:20. It's just been a mad dash of me trying to set things up, and then also trying to give people their Mayoshi codes that I'm giving out a little. So yeah, dude, setting up Mayoshi has been really fun. I was too young to like really get into MySpace, like. I obviously I wasn't a teen during the 2000s. I was a child. So I didn't really get to be a part of that. But learning how to code, learning how to do CSS and HTML is super interesting and yet the hardest fucking thing I've ever done. I don't know how people could do it, but I thank you to everybody who's been like showing off their code and letting people use it and use it to learn. Because it's been helping me a lot. Last week, we skipped Miss Morgan Monday because I had my little spod day, and I totally forgot to do the schedule last week. So I kind of forgot I needed to do it, but I did have plans the rest of that day. So we're getting back into it after a week of not. I'm going to be honest. I think, okay, we're going back into it, I think. We're going back into the trial, if I remember correctly. Did I turn, oh shoot! Me not having voice mod on, oh, you probably couldn't even hear me. Sorry about that, sorry about that. I'm here though now. I'm pretty sure you can hear me now. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we're going in after the little break that they had. Oh boy. And we're going to... Are we going to... Is the head of the House of Karya, is he gonna come on the stand? I forget who the important person is going to be on the stand today. We'll see though. We'll see though. Let's just jump into it. They must have waved me down over 5 times. I've been in private banks with less active security than this. Were they private banks that had recently had a shooting? No. Then the comparison seems flawed. Armed guards in the halls, drones outside the windows, androids standing firm in the streets, triple spectrum scans at every entrance. They really rolled out the red carpet for you this time. If they were this concerned, why didn't they just move the trial outside the city? The district attorney said as much, but the city council overrode them. The district attorney? You mean Miss Rockford? Miss Rockford's boss. Word of the attack yesterday is already trickling out. They can't afford to delay or it'll look like they've been successfully intimidated. There's such a thing as overcompensating. Not on the stage of security theater. Were you able to look over the DNA analysis that scientists completed at an eye? Their report on the bindings? Yeah. Let me see. Summary of forensic DNA. Sweat matches the DNA of subject A. Skin matches the DNA. Blood matches the DNA. Okay. And subject E. Smiles Heavens Miller. Who in the heck is that? Gave me a lot to think about on the ride over. You're looking much better. I don't feel better. They gave me some kind of injection last night. Oh, true, he looks less beat up than usual. I woke up in much more pain, but they still insisted on taking off all my bandages. Some sort of injection?
Sasuke consented to intravenous? Fuck. Injection of a recovery accelerant at 9:33 p.m. last night.
You consented without knowing what it was? I nodded. Thought it would help me sleep. That interrogation room floor isn't exactly ideal for rest, sorry. Spoiled brat. This is the same guy who was confidently telling me he was fine with going to jail?
What about you, Ed and I? Were you able to get get any rest?
No. Oh, I slept like a rock. Eventually. Didn't even wake up when a certain unwelcome guest stumbled at the door in the early morning, thank God. But it was an accelerant, huh? I thought there was something familiar about this discomfort. They gave it to us back in the military on occasion. You heal up faster, but it still takes the same toll overall. Explains why I feel like all my bruises are fresh.
Why'd they wait until now to start giving Sasuke medical attention, though?
Emma must have realized it was getting a bit silly. Trying to accuse you of murdering 5 people when you looked like you had been thrown through a windshield.
Oh. Don't worry, Sasuke. You're still handsome, even without the rugged edge that your injuries provided.
That's my girl. Hearing that doesn't make me happy, you know.
Yeah,
then why are you blushing?
I love Sasuke.
It's not like you're spotless. You still have a mark under your left eye. No, I've had that since birth.
Oh my god, Queen.
Oh.
Oh, game? Game? Game?
I was told once that it's charming.
Hold on. Hold on. We're looking. Who was the lady that we met? No, wasn't Kim. Anyone else we know have a beauty mark somewhere? You fucking don't. Hi, Han. Love Han. Why do I keep... Morgan, look at her. I don't know.
Why'd you bring it up? Is it not charming? So needy.
That's hilarious. Okay, back into it, I suppose.
Thank you for clarifying that for the court, detective. That was the same story you told me yesterday down in the lower wards. He and Reyes were the second on scene, so they focused on clearing the lower floors before meeting with Rogers. Good to have it on the record so I can look it over.
Okay. Focus on security in the area. Sunshine and I clear out the first floor, and... But one was unlocked. Okay.
As for the next item on the docket, calling the defendant to testify...
Seems like it's gonna be a nothing burger.
Not entirely, Your Honor. My client waives his right to decline.
Does he now? Ooh. Ooh, whoa.
Sosuke Ikaria. I'm a head of personnel security at the Ikaria Financial Group.
And the IFG, that's a family-run small business, mom-and-pop operation, I take it?
Family run.
Well, Mr. Ikaria, I feel like the court already has a strong understanding of the circumstances you found yourself in. How you were captured and tortured by these 4 known criminal associates, all of whom are now dead. How you were found standing over the body of Officer Chopin. I suppose all anyone can ask is, what do you have to say for yourself?
I can only tell you what I remember, even if that's mostly pain.
How about after the pain? How did it end?
I woke up to the feeling of my blood drying on my skin.
Familiar sensation for a head of personnel security, I assume?
Objection. I can answer. It was a novel experience. I pulled off my blindfold and felt like I'd stepped into the desert. White flaring in my eyes, heart thumping in my temple. Then I realized there's a gun in my waistband. The indicator showed it was spent. Didn't know what to make of it.
Does this gun look familiar to you, Mr. Ikaria?
Yes, that's the same gun.
Let the record show the witness has admitted to wielding the same... Is it magus or magus? I don't know. I've been saying magus, but I don't think that's the... I think that's the right saying. Same magus used to kill 2 of the victims. Is this okay?
I stumbled forward towards a door. And past it, the whole room seemed red.
And after that, you don't remember? Anything else you'd like to say to the court, Mr. Ikaria, before we finish?
There is one more thing I recall. I remember holding my sword.
Oh! So he had med set? You remember holding your sword. Woof, that ain't good. That's very interesting for you to say, Mr. Ikaria.
It was on the ground, and it's important to me, so I bent over and picked it up.
Do you recall the next thing you did with that sword, Mr. Ikaria?
No. The next thing I know, I'm being transported and read my rights.
I see. Your Honor, do you feel we need to continue? The questioning? The trial. Oh! Ouch!
Ready to begin cross-examination at any time, Your Honor.
If you insist. Round 1, fight! Surely we're past round 1 by now. Oh boy, okay, bring it on. Cut, bindings, Yoru, and okay, Magus. Open the room blindfolded and in pain, yep. Managed to untie my bindings and stumble forward. That's when I noticed the gun sticking out of my waistband. I was alarmed, but the ammo was already spent. When I stepped through the door, everything on the other side was red. All I could think of do was bend down and pick up Yoru off the floor. Next thing I know, I was in an ambulance having my rights read to me. Sosuke isn't lying about anything, is he?
No, he's just subconsciously glossing over a certain key detail. All the trial prep in the world can't undo multiple concussions, I suppose.
Okay, so... It was the bindings, Yoru? How were you unable to tie your bindings? Is this it? It is! Hooray!
Sosuke couldn't have untied his way out of his bindings. Not when they were very clearly cut by something sharp.
Objecting to a statement from your own client now?
What do you mean, Morgan? These pieces of cloth were recovered from the room where you were held, Sosuke, and they've very clearly been cut. You didn't struggle your way out. You cut your way out. Yes, now that you mention it, that's right. But if I cut myself out first...
Your Honor, the people ask the defense do their testimony coaching before the trial begins from now on.
As it stands, it's been a colossal waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, this detail probably isn't important, right?
It's very important, Your Honor. If he used a blade to cut himself free from his bindings, that means Sosuke couldn't have gotten free until someone handed him a blade. Meaning that the people's theory of a daring escape mid-interrogation
is doing just fine. Thank you for asking. None of us in the court here today seriously believe this man, or his memory, can be taken as the truth.
Then forget him, just look at the bindings. They're hard physical evidence and they have to have been cut.
Like something sharp. What do we know that fits that description? You think it was Yoru? His captors kept him bound in that room most of the night, then cut him from his bindings with the sword to bring him into the main room for questioning, where he turned the tables on them before slaughtering them all. Badass. Well, counselor, Are we done here?
Could the katana have been used to cut those bindings? Looking at the actual bindings themselves.
It could have been the sword. It couldn't have been the sword. Okay, I feel like... Let me look at those... Look at those freaking bindings again. Okay, maybe a cart. Maybe not Ikaria. Maybe Yoru? Yoru! Where are you? Oh, are you not here? Yoru! Yoru, are you not in evidence, Yoru? I guess not. Damn, okay, should probably save here. I mean, like, my gut is saying to raise it. Cause I mean, this, how would he have... Cause you have to use two hands to cut, right? You have to use two hands to wield the sword. So I'm just gonna say it like this.
Of course it wasn't the sword that cut those bindings.
What do you mean? I mean, he also found the knife, right? Is that what happened?
The problem lies with the DNA.
Oh yeah, and the DNA.
Your Honor, if we could please draw the court's attention to the forensic analysis of the bindings. You'll notice.
Your client's blood, obviously.
Yes, obviously. But upon closer inspection, you'll also see that blood from Miller was found as well.
The Poncho guy?
Who was stabbed in the throat, as the court may recall.
By your client's sword, as is no doubt so fresh in the jury's memory?
Well, how can that be, Your Honor?
What do you mean? Is it not sharp enough? What a piece of...
How can Miller's blood have ended up on the bindings that kept my client from leaving the room in which he was held? Unless Miller was killed before my client was ever cut free. That's...
kinda a big deal, isn't it?
I thought so, at least.
Ay, ay, ay. She's lying, that's not possible! You thought wrong, counselor. It's true that the katana has blood from Miller's stabbing on it. And I'll admit that it's surprising to see his blood on your client's bindings.
Miller's autopsy shows he had no wounds besides the fatal puncture in his neck. So the bindings on my client had to have been intact, but at the time Miller died.
But those bindings didn't need to be cut before your client could kill him.
What?
If your client's wrists were left bound for questioning, he could have stolen the gun, killed Tanks and Creek, then picked up a sword, as he just stated in his testimony, and set to work.
You think my client was drugged and beaten before killing 4 men with his wrist bound?
Hardly impossible for a man with his... talents. And there's no other explanation for why he would have cut his bindings with a sword that, as you insist, must have already been used to kill Miller.
No other explanation? Not even if he used something else to break out of confinement?
Ooh. Hey, oh. Now, why would we use the my knife? Okay, well, maybe. Oh, wait, no. Maybe.
What if my client had simply used this to break out?
What the hell is that? Way overcooked from what I can tell.
It's a murder weapon, Your Honor. One recovered from the scene of the crime. A knife. Yes, that's what I grasped when I first woke up.
That's impossible. What she said? There's nothing about a knife found seared to perfection in the ARC's data. Is it overcooked or seared to perfection? This knife was not found inside the building, Your Honor. retrieved it from the alley immediately beside it.
Your android did? Need her to submit video evidence the entire afternoon to verify it? Doubting Thomas.
It's not the android I'd have trouble taking at her word, Counselor. Ooh! What forensics have been performed on it? There are no fingerprints remaining, and the DNA present in the blood is too damaged to be of use. But I have identified at least 2 different blood typings. AB minus and B minus, Your Honor. Your Honor, the people are, of course, interested in forensic analysis of any evidence that seems pertinent to the crime at hand. But this was retrieved from an alleyway dumpster. A soot-filled drum near an alleyway dumpster. From an alley in the lower wards. Without strong evidence linking to the crime, I see no reason to entertain the idea that this is some kind of 4th murder weapon.
3rd murder weapon.
What?
The bat was post-mortem.
The point still stands. Huh. Well, how about it, Morgie? Any link between this totally not suspicious fire-broiled knife and our crime? Or should we just throw it back in the garbage? Again, it was a soot-filled drum by the garbage. Oh, Sarah.
Of course I have more to go on than mere proximity, Your Honor. I have proof right here that this knife is what Sosuke used to cut himself free.
Caught on left-hand finger. Caught on left-hand finger. Ooh.
Just take another look at that.
Your client's medical intake record? Little late to still be drumming up sympathy, but if there are shirtless photos in the file, I suppose I have a duty. There are.
What? I did not remove my shirt for... If I may please direct the court's attention to one specific item. Slight laceration found on left hand.
What do you mean, slight? Like a paper cut? More like a cutting board accident. Neither paints a very gallant picture. But if he had a cut on his finger when he was first arrested...
Then it must have been sustained around the time of his escape. Like when he was using a knife to cut himself out of bindings while blindfolded.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even a master swordsman can nick himself on his blade every now and then. His katana
was found with a lot of blood on it, yes. But none of his own.
Adonai is correct. The order was thoroughly tested and found to have blood residue matching Miller, Trey, and Officer Chopin.
But not one drop of Sosuke's. Meanwhile, we have a knife right here, ready to be submitted into evidence and studied under every microscope the state can find. That just so happens to have Sosuke's exact blood type on the tip.
AB minus? That blood type doesn't match anyone in this case's full file except for Sosuke. What? I do blood type fortune telling. So I have a hobby. Shoot me! 2 shots right to the base of my skull.
Counselor Morgan,
Perhaps you might grace us all with your formal request.
I call for this knife to be submitted into the record and forensically analyzed as quickly and thoroughly as possible. Because I believe it is the murder weapon that actually ended Miller's life. I'm just saying that. I have no basis on that at all. I don't know who would do such a thing, says Morgan.
A knife to the neck.
Would be much easier to pull off than using the very tip of the sword. I'd hypothesize. Nice recovery.
Perfect, Kemi. In other words, then, you're asking for the medical examiner to reevaluate whether this knife might be a better fit for the wound in Miller's neck? Yeah. Did you just repeat what she said but slightly rephrased? A conversational tactic to surpass
It's worth repeating, Your Honor, because the people understand the full weight of what this knife implies. It can overturn this entire case in an instant, depending on what Sato finds. Emma's repeating what I said because she's stunned. I just flashed her my hand and it was one card away from Full House.
The people have no objections, Your Honor. This trial requires that we fully examine this new piece of evidence. Cool. So does someone have her number? Is there a group chat for everyone who works for the government or... Dr. Sato is already on her way. So there is a group chat and I'm not in it. She'll begin the examination as soon as she arrives. Guess we just slack off until she's done then. It occurs to me, Your Honor, that we ought to thoroughly examine why this possibly critical piece of evidence was not found during the police's investigation.
The investigation and preservation of this crime scene was a joint effort between the police and Sienna Security.
Then perhaps our next witness can shine a light on the source of this deficiency. Who is it? Is it Han? Yeah!
Adelaide Han, site manager at Sienna Security. I served as supervisor for the scene of the crime in case 356319B.
Wow, can I call you lady?
Nah, babe. What should I call you, though?
Well, you can keep calling me babe or...
Gay. You can address the adjutant as Your Honor. Awfully cold name for such a hot... Oh! Why the hell wasn't this knife found sooner? Well, I hate to throw a business partner under the bus, but we at Sienna Security maintain the perimeters and stand watch over secured scenes. It's the cops who do the searching and flagging. You'd have to ask them why they didn't go dumpster diving.
It was a drum.
The police aren't your business partners, though, are they? I don't understand the question, Your Highness. Sienna Security is a cell corporation owned by FIC Holdings, an offshore rebranding and effective pseudonym for Kim Acquisitions, aka the heart of the criminal organization operating in the lower wards that is commonly referred to as the Blue Blood Mafia.
Damn, girl. Hold on, where was it? Terms.
A corporation structured such that its employees have no knowledge of its parent orgs. Okay. Interesting. If you say so, sounds like it's above my pay grade. Permission to treat the witness as hostile?
Can I get popcorn first?
Do you know why the state cooperates with the Blue Bloods to this degree? Why you're allowed to run your businesses and manage your petty fiefdoms? Fiefdoms! Petty fiefdoms? How about this? It's a free country and we're loyal, capitalist, tax-paying entrepreneurs. You got your own explanation? It's because you're insignificant. Ooh. Ooh. Neither you nor your organization are on trial here today. That's not a favor, and it's not a show of respect. It's just reality. The state is slow to shift its priorities. You aren't the focus of this investigation. But if you impede this trial's progress by dodging questions and playing stupid, you'll find that the state shifts its attention to your neck very fast. Ooh, Emma! Morgan, you're a little bit turned on. I know you are. You got questions for me then? Why wasn't the alley searched? Because the police found all the murder weapons within minutes. No rational person walked into the bloodbath and thought, gee, I wonder if there's a knife buried under a pile of ash in the alley downstairs. Your witness, counselor. My turn.
All right.
My hunch is right. It'll be critical that I gather as much information as possible about the scene of the crime, and the ways in which it changed after I left. When did Sienna Security first arrive on the premises, ma'am? Midnight? About 2 hours after my client was arrested. You're sure? Checked my messages and saw the time right on my phone when we got there. You were there yourself? Trouble with being a site supervisor. You gotta stay on site. Lot of naps in parked cars. Han, let's look a few details about the building's setup when we first met. Time to get it all out on the record.
Okay, the security?
Do you know who owns the building that these crimes took place in?
I don't.
Do you know who installed the security features on location?
It was Cyanus.
Must have gotten hired by someone.
Not my department.
But you recognize some of the handiwork?
The front door was Cyanus. The individual the individual vault room locks too.
That front door was locked when officers arrived. They had to shoot it open. Shouldn't your security systems recognize officers of the law?
Our doors use physical locks. A lot of folks in the lower wards don't trust a fob scanner that can be hacked.
Physical locks can be bypassed too.
Sure, but at least that takes time. Do all the doors require keys?
Is there any way to unlock that front door without its key?
I mean, you could use a spare, right?
Is there any way to lock that front door without its key?
Yeah, but the technique's real complicated. You walk out and let it shut behind you.
That door is designed to lock behind you automatically?
It's a selling point for a building designed to be secure. The alley.
That knife was found in the alley only yesterday, even though the police should have searched there.
Yep. Seems like not everyone did their job.
Did you do yours? Was the alley monitored around the clock?
It was.
Any disturbances to the scene in the alley?
No, none. Huh.
So there was no opportunity for someone to plant that knife there after the crime occurred? Not even a blue blood?
There were cops coming and going all over. Why don't you ask them if we went around planting evidence?
We did our damn job.
Oop.
Right, as expected.
Oops. Okay, the nice weather, I guess.
It was a warm night, I'll bet.
Oh, because it left the windows open, duh. You asking me about the weather? Not exactly grade A small talk. Relevance, Your Honor?
I was trying to be polite, but if you insist, were the windows open in the building when you arrived?
There's a lot of windows. Not sure.
The crime scene in the room directly below it, were there windows open?
Yes. Those windows were open when Cyanus arrived.
Strange. Didn't it rain that night?
That drizzle was over before 9 p.m. And even if it had been a downpour, it's not a crime to risk getting your windowsills wet.
Alright, so the building wasn't completely sealed by the time you got there. Thank you. That was a very enlightening conversation. But it raises just one question. Whoever could have gotten inside the building before Chopin and Rogers?
Ooh, blackjack, baby. The hell are you talking about? Your Honor, perhaps Counselor Morgan might narrow down her absurd, attention-grabbing claim first. Ooh. So that the people can properly eviscerate it. Ooh. Yeah, what she said.
Someone got into the building before Chopin and Rogers did. That's become obvious.
What are you talking about? The only way into that building was through the front door. Chopin had to shoot it down. Are you suggesting that he didn't even try turning the handle first? Raise it. No, the front door was locked. They came in through the window. That's what she's trying to say.
No, the door was definitely locked when those two arrived. This witness had testified that the door was designed to lock itself automatically. So it's impossible for the door to have been left unlocked.
As you say. But in that case, if we know that the front door was locked all night, and we know that the master key was found on Creek's body on the 3rd floor, then where do I even... What the hell are you trying to say, anyway?
Just that they used a spare key.
Oh, a spare key. How convenient. But completely unfounded.
The witness just testified that a spare key is the only other way in.
But there's no proof that a spare key even exists.
Probably not, no.
Probably?
So how about I show the courtroom where it was hidden instead?
Oh. It has signs of being moved. Would it be the dumpster? No. Yeah! I was right, because it was moved! Oh my god.
There wasn't a spare key in the dumpster. It must have been underneath it.
What? Is that true?
Hey, don't look at me. I have no idea what she's talking about. That dumpster has clearly been moved, as indicated by the markings left behind from dirty rain in the lower wards.
We can all see those marks, Counselor, but it could have been moved at any point after the last time it rained down there.
The witness just testified that the last time it rained was 9 p.m. on the night of the murder.
So what? Your claim is that a spare key to the front door was left underneath the dumpster? Not so dissimilar from leaving a spare key under a potted plant.
Or a setting stone, or a biwa statue.
This isn't anything like either of those examples. That dumpster is massive, and its wheels are long gone.
Correct. So if anyone had moved it after police had arrived, the cops definitely would have heard it. If it was moved after the rain stopped and before Chopin and Rogers got there, that narrows it down to sometime between 9 and 10 p.m. And of course, someone would only bother to move a dumpster that heavy if they knew what they'd find underneath it. Someone like...
Oh. Are we trying to put this on Han?
It had to be Han, of course.
Counselor.
As a known associate of the Blue Blood Mafia and an employee of the security company who installed the front door at the crime scene, she'd have known exactly where to find a spare key. That dumpster also happens to be incredibly heavy, but I don't believe this witness's mod documentation has been submitted to the court. Could you estimate for us your approximate lifting strength? You lift with your back, not your arms, lady. Pushing strength, then.
Me? I couldn't push over a flower.
Fact is, you're just bullshitting.
There is no proof for any of what you've said. We could check for your fingerprints on the front door.
You'll find them because I've used it plenty of times. It's my job. We could check for your fingerprints on the dumpster.
That thing's filthy. You'd get nothing but partials from a bunch of unlisted. And addicts and whoever else stumbling around in that city.
Would we? Dunno.
But after you do, I might just recall how I nearly puked when I saw that crime scene. And how I might have stepped out into the alley to catch my breath. Would you believe I rested my hands on that dumpster then? This line of questioning is unproductive, Your Honor. Counselor Morgan cannot substantiate her theory because the fact is, there's nothing strange about Han's prints being on any centimeter of that building. Not when she spent nearly 2 full days patrolling it.
True. Fingerprints won't be enough. I need something more impactful. And I've got just the thing!
What?
Han was there that night. She was there before the police ever were, and she was there long before scientists showed up at midnight. And I can prove it right now.
How?
Exactly.
What?
I'm going to prove how she got there before the police did.
I remember this. What the hell was that? Adonai, did you really have to do that again? What is happening right now?
This is a simple whistle. Every time I press it. Every ad in the courtroom picks up a rather nasty frequency, as does any phone with the proper receiver app installed. So, Should the witness be excused so she can answer her phone, Your Honor?
You brought that shit into the courtroom? Where exactly was this whistle found?
At the scene of the crime, of course.
Near where Creek's body lay.
Police must have discarded it as a keychain or toy. Didn't anyone ever teach them that when you find a button, you should press it?
That's the exact opposite of what you should do at a crime scene.
Yesterday, Dr. Sato testified that Creek was alive for several minutes after being shot. If he pressed this whistle even once in that time, the witness's phone would have started getting alerts. As I've demonstrated to the court just now. Anything to say for yourself, Miss Han? Did someone install the app on your phone as a prank?
Its reception has a limited range.
The lower wards is a tight-knit, high-density community. How far could you have been?
Far. I wasn't in the area that night. It doesn't matter what range she was at, Your Honor. The defense claims that Han entered the building with some kind of spare key, letting the front door lock behind her to block Chopin and Rogers. But those two officers did enter after they shot the lock, at which point they didn't run to the witness.
Creek was shot around 9:45 p.m. Considering the time it would have taken Han to arrive and retrieve the spare key, she would have only been a few steps ahead of Chopin and Rogers.
After coming so far with your brilliant spare key deduction, are you now going to claim that she simply ran away?
No. At that point, she would have had to hide.
Oh. The vault?
Since they didn't see her logically, we must conclude that she hid in one of the rooms on that floor.
That is logical, but it's also entirely conjecture.
Not this time. Detective London's testimony established the possibility.
Oh yeah. 12. Game? Taking this opportunity to get water. Game? Oh, game. Oh, there you are.
Remember what the good Detective London testified earlier?
Rogers had already apprehended the suspect, so we focused on securing the area. Sunshine and I cleared the first floor, and all the rooms were empty, but one was unlocked. Can you teach me how to speak brackets out loud later?
Two police detectives have sworn that one vault on the first floor was found unlocked. Unlocked, perhaps by a spare master key.
Is that some kind of big deal? I love her. Your Honor, what Counselor Morgan is proposing would put the witness behind Officers Chopin and Rogers as they proceeded upstairs.
Not a bad place to be. If you want to do some backstabbing.
You've got to be shitting me. That's some creative geometry you're employing, Counselor. Imagining the witness as somehow getting positioned behind Tariq Chopin, yet somehow remaining invisible to the eyes of Officer Rogers.
That's...
Non-Euclidean crime scene recreation. Very novel. Her insult sounded really smart, so I'm inclined to agree.
I thought I had something when I tried to put the cards on the table. How could Han have gotten behind Chopin on the third floor? Was Rogers distracted at the window, maybe? Or... Wrong question. I'm getting ahead of myself. Trying to work backwards at this point. I shouldn't ask what Han could have done to get in the position where she was able to kill Chopin. I should first ask what Han would have done to serve her own interests. Your Honor, there's some testimony I'd like the court to hear once more. If you could access the stenography protocol.
The what protocol? Was I supposed to be taking minutes for this meeting? I can recall any testimony you want to review, Adonai.
If Han won't self-incriminate, then the only testimony that could give me a clue as to her actions would be...
What was Roger's testimony? Can we see them? There's London's. No, I don't think we're gonna use that one again. Any other? Come on, come on, come on. Koto's testimony. Susie sword. Damn, okay, But what was Sosuke's testimony? That's what I want to see. This is what I want to see. Oh, this is what I want to see. Oh. Yeah, there's nothing else. Boo. Boo. I guess we're... Okay, yay!
Recite Roger's testimony from yesterday. Start from after they entered the building.
What are you fishing for? We heard a loud slam. Chopin gets all deadly serious and insists I stay, and he goes ahead.
That's it. The sound Rogers heard from the alley. The one that made Chopin want to form a pincer. That must have been when Han...
landed on Dumpster? Landed on Dumpster?
When Han moved the dumpster in order to get the spare key.
After the first officers on the scene had already destroyed the lock? Oh wait, no! No, it was land then.
The sound the officers heard was that of someone fleeing the scene. Out the window, down the fire escape, and onto the dumpster. It's a bit of a drop. Even a dainty suspect would make quite the racket during the dumpster lid. Oh, sorry, using the dumpster lid to break their fall.
Your Honor, if we have to entertain this sort of conjecture, might we at least ask for proof that it ends somewhere impactful? I hear ya. Counselor Morgan, take us on seriously. Oh my god, pray, pray.
You're telling me that?
What exactly, sorry, what exactly are you accusing this witness of? Are you prepared to accuse Han of having murdered Tariq Chopin? Now this is a question. Also, this music is fire. Ooh. My gut is saying that she didn't, but I don't know who else could have done it. I feel like the... I wonder...
If my theory's right, then it was the sound of Han fleeing the scene that caused the cops to split up. In other words, at the time she left, Chopin was still alive. No, she's been uncooperative and has lied on this witness stand. But she did not kill... But she didn't kill anyone.
Woof, that was anticlimactic. I mean, perjury? Who even cares? Perhaps now, Your Honor, the court can get back on track and bring this witness's testimony to a close. And considering the fact that she may very well have perjured herself, I think it might be a better use of the court's time if we cleared the room for the remainder of this witness's testimony.
No objections, Your Honor.
Okie dokie! Bailiffs, clear the gallery and remove the defendant to a holding room.
You're forcing us out, what the hell? Hey, tag along, would you?
With Sosuke?
Can't let someone with a concussion fall asleep, right? I am certainly not still concussed at this point. See, he's delirious. Trust me.
Very well, Adonai. Good luck.
Okay. place empties out faster than I thought.
No gallery, no jury live feed, no bells and whistles. You just give your testimony to the defense and the people and moi. Then when you're done, I get to watch them argue over whether or not I should add it to the record.
So, you think I got something contentious to say? Sorry, but it's just gonna be more of the cold shoulder. What I think is that you're scared. The hell? Of what? Who? You? An audience.
What, the pigs? You think I give a shit what any of them thinks, says, does?
Even if any one of them might leak what you say back to the old guard.
What's an old guard? The ruling faction among the Blue Bloods, who use young bloods like this witness as their cannon fodder. Where do you learn all that? You binge a late dine special?
Knowing Emma, she just learned all this from.
Matter of fact, I did. Oh!
Old guard knows where my loyalties lie. I'm no snitch. So now there's someone to snitch on?
I don't help state prosecutors, and I definitely don't help Ikarian lawyers.
The court's already emptied out. We can sit here in silence if you like. 15 minutes of nothing and then you walk out. But when you do, someone's gonna make assumptions about what went on in here.
Telling me I'm screwed if I do, screwed if I don't ain't exactly got me feeling.
Sosuke didn't kill Krieg. Maybe you don't care if an Ikarian dog goes down for a crime he didn't commit. But how do you feel about the person who did put that hole in Krieg's chest, toasting to the news of the verdict? Screw this. 9:47 p.m., night of the murders, I got the alarm on my phone. Knew it was Krieg because the whistles all have specific frequencies. You gotta set him into your device if you want to listen for him. Krieg had nerves like ice. Strong bluffer. Wouldn't press that button unless he absolutely had to. I ran. Was fastest that way, on foot. Usually is in the lower wards. I knew where the spare key was. Helped set up the whole damn place. Doors, keys, soundproofing. Stepped inside and had just gotten my phone light out when those two idiot cops came up. Reds and blues, but no siren. Trying to be some kind of movie shit. I thought they were gonna shoot me. Then I heard Chopin getting ready to break the lock, and I knew they were gonna shoot me. Used the spare key on the nearest vault, dipped inside and prayed they would just head straight upstairs. Lucky for me, they did. You followed after them? At a distance, but yeah. Saw their boots on stairs, their shoulders around corners. They split on the second floor. One went upstairs. He was quiet, except for that squeak on the fourth step. Creaky used to joke that was a valuable security feature. They separated on the second floor without any prompting. Other one was stomping around the second floor, so I was able to keep my distance. Always knew exactly where that one was. When one shouted down, then one shouted down. He shouted, saying that everyone was dead. That must have been Chopin just before Sosuke snuck up on him. I liked Krieg. His boys were alright too. But I did not want to join them in Red Hood's company, so I didn't risk sticking around a second longer. I opened that window on the second floor and jumped for the ground. I was willing to hurt my knees, pull on my ass if I had to, but I ended up smacking the dumpster instead. Guy on the second floor shouted after me, "They're in the alley!" I heard windows slide open above me, footsteps on the fire escape, but my knees had stopped shaking and the fog was with me. They never saw me. You're saying you never even set foot on the third floor? Not until I came back hours later as a sinus rep. Nah. Where's the spare key now? Bottom of the bay at the moment. Hell of a throwing arm, as you can see. I ain't gonna help you go snorkel around for it if that's what you're asking.
Well then, the people thank you for your testimony. You've cleared up a number of oddities surrounding this case, though none of the answers you've provided have changed the fundamental facts of what the defendant is accused of.
Not quite.
She was in and out, counselor. Didn't even set foot upstairs.
I know. Not until she came back to secure the scene, right?
Out with it, counselor. There's no need for theatrics without the jury or gallery here. I'm still here.
I do appreciate the witness being so forthcoming about her first visit to the scene. Now I just need her to explain why she started covering up evidence when she returned.
What are you talking about? Well, it was on fucking fire, so... Right? Oh, wait! Also this.
Why go to such effort to hide one small scrap of paper?
What is that? More trash? Seriously? That's exactly what it is. Trash. Garbage. Some idiot knocked over a trash can on the second floor. It's a big building, that stuff happens.
Still don't want to answer? That's okay. I will. You covered up that scrap of paper because it implicates you as an accomplice.
Didn't see that coming. But because it's nonsensical, Your Honor. Counselor, you just got done explaining how Han arrived after the pod was killed and left before Chopin died.
Not an accomplice to murder. Just the mafia equivalent of leaking government secrets. Even though the papers were almost entirely illegible. It only took 4 characters for the P492 plan to blow up in court yesterday. Years of blue blood planning all down the drain. Because Creek was reading something he shouldn't have when he died. But if he shouldn't have had it in the first place, one has to wonder where he might have gotten it.
All because of that one goddamn watermark.
Identical to the one on your own business card.
Zionist security? You leaked the red ink? Creek never asked nobody for nothing.
That mouse was a giver. Gave money, food, blood, more than any of us. Enough that the weaker ones wouldn't have to get stuck. A guy like that came to a two-faced con hostess like me and asked for help. That red ink is radioactive. Anyone caught with it, why would he ask you for it? Old guard knew Creek was charismatic, brave, smart. Everything they feared in a young blood. But they also knew Creek made them too much money for them to just off. So the old guard decided to wear them down instead. More jobs than any other crew, more responsibilities. Less downtime, no sleep. Keep them too tired to have time to rebel, then wait for them to screw up. So you can make an example of them when they do. Managers would do the same thing when a host got too full of themselves. Started thinking they were the ones bringing in the money. They were the ones who should keep it. Just put them on the grind. Grind them into dust. One old bastard had them trying to grab that Icaria cater, whatever. At the same time, another expected them to do some kind of arms handoff to a big shot. Ooh, there it is. At least, that was the rumor. Look, point is, Creek knew they had a target on their back already, so they wanted some kind of deterrent. They could have dropped that red ink into any inbox in town, like a tactical nuke if they had to. But maybe that's why they fired their missiles first. You think the old guard killed Creek? I don't think it was that pretty boy Hound, nursing those broken bones. Did he off the Chopin guy, though? I mean, I'd kill a stuck-up, spoiled prick like that for no motive, so... Did that answer your questions, counselor? Not the most burning one. When did the scrap of paper arrive on the second floor? Wasn't there when I ran out that window. It was dark and you were panicked. How could you even have noticed? Paper's white. If you had seen it, would you have taken it? You kidding? Yeah, of course I would have taken it. Would have eaten the damn paper to make sure.
Why didn't you simply eat the damn paper later when you did see it? Removing an item from an ARC scan building would set off any number of red flags. And the first thing that would happen is they'd wind the clock back to see what it was. That's what I did. Looked back to see how the hell I missed it, but the damn thing was in every pick the ARCs had right from the beginning. Knocking over trash to hide it was the best I could do. The reward survival tactics. Hide in numbers. If the scrap wasn't on the second floor when you left, but it was on the ARCs from the start. That means Reyes' body cam saw it by the second floor windowsill. The one that connected to the fire escape. Your Honor, I believe we're done with this witness. Even though all we've managed to establish is that...
Oh! That someone went from the third floor to the second floor without taking the stairwell. Someone circled around.
You got all that from one paper? Am I stupid? Just because those papers originated on the third floor? If that scrap was found by the windowsill, someone could have taken the fire escape.
Exactly!
Could have. Someone could have. But obviously they didn't, because they then would have run right into... Dr. Sato! She has some evidence, or DNA, or whatever. Maybe even an updated autopsy report if you even care. Should we let her in? Your Honor, you're the one overseeing the trial, so I can cry if I want to. Open her up and kick the floor out. Oop.
Hey, Miss Morgan. That Icarian dog didn't kill Creek's Pod. No, he didn't. I fucking did. You gonna find out who did? Not your job, huh? Guess I deserve that.
Finding Creek's killer is not technically my job either, Han. But if they're brought before me, I can promise I won't hold anything back.
Appreciate the sentiment. But I'm not gonna hold my breath. And I won't tell any of the other Youngbloods to hold theirs.
Alright, Sato, I always forget what fucking voice I did for you.
Phew. Lots of news to break. I'll leave the interpretation of the good and the bad to you two.
I think I had a little vocal fry on her. That's cool. Don't just imply I'm the ugly. It's fine.
Counselor Morgan's hypothesis stands. This knife matches Miller's entry wound. Well, how about that? And it matches the wound better than the katana, considering what we discussed yesterday. I'd be ready to say this is definitely the murder weapon used to stab Miller. But I've had no more luck with DNA testing than Sarah did. You weren't able to get anything? Nothing in the range of admissibility. However, like Sarah, I was also able to perform blood type analysis on the blade. And while I also found AB- and B- samples on it.
Oh, hi, Ghost. Welcome. What are we looking at? Stab wounds, katana, small katana, Morgan doing that. Yeah. Right now, we're trying to, our client is a guy that is accused of murdering 5 people. We're trying to we're trying to prove him innocent. And one of the ways we can prove him innocent is, because the katana that they're talking about was the weapon to stab the last guy, the final guy. He was a cop. And you were trying to prove that he didn't use the katana to kill anybody, because he had a knife on him to cut his bindings from where he was like in a torture chamber. Yeah, Jack the Ripper. But the twist is that us as the defense attorney, we are actually the people who killed those 5 people. Yeah, we're the ones who actually killed them. Oops.
I found one more blood type as well. A+.
Hey, hold on. Morgan, what blood type are you, baby? What blood type are you, Morgan? Okay, no, we're fine. That AB- could be hers, though. Oops. Yeah, Morgan's a serial killer. Three people cut with one knife? This can't be hygienic. Now we're surprised at that because we only cut one person with the knife. As long as you don't stick it in your mouth, you should be fine.
A+ blood? Oh, A positive. A positive blood? Who was there that night that had A positive blood? Your Honor, these findings bring a rather alarming fact to light.
What did you think? Dr. Sato's analysis has led her to conclude that this knife is a better match for the stab wound to Miller's neck. Katana, she confirmed Sarah's blood type findings and also found a type A+. Who was A+? We well-earned blood grade. Dude, who was A+? Oh.
Ooh! Your Honor, these findings bring a rather alarming fact to light. If Dr. Sato believes that Miller was most likely stabbed by this knife, and not the katana, that means that this knife was also the source of Miller's blood on Sosuke's bindings. So either my client killed 4 men while cycling between a gun, a sword, a bat, and now a knife with his wrist tied together, all before ever stopping to cut his bindings. Or he was still in captivity when the Blue Bloods were killed.
But wait, that almost sounds like
an alibi for 4 of the 5 murders.
That is not an alibi, Your Honor.
Merely an increasingly strong shadow of a doubt.
The jury can decide that for themselves. The facts surrounding Tariq Chopin's death still stand. Sosuke Ikaria was the only living individual in the room Chopin was killed in. Sosuke Ikaria is the only person with his fingerprints on the katana. Something he corroborated with his very own testimony just a short while ago. And the defense's theorized fleeing suspect has already been revealed as incapable of committing any of these crimes.
Yes, but unfortunately for the people's case against my client, there is evidence that completely overturns our understanding of how Chopin died.
I don't think it's the fire. I mean, how Chopin died. Why would we have the red ink here? I guess we're talking about this, huh? Because there's A+ blood on it. Must have been stabbed with a katana. No, he stole the knife. Yeah! The knife that Dr. Sato just confirmed was used on Miller.
Very likely used to kill Miller, yes. But definitely used to kill Chopin.
What? What are you going on about?
Blood typing. Chopin is the only victim with A+ blood. Even my client Sosuke has AB- blood. AB negative, sorry. My god. Bad blood score. Yet Dr. Sato just told us that A+ blood was found on this knife.
That blood could have come from
nowhere but a single fatal wound identified on his autopsy.
Chopin's blood was all over that scene. The knife could have fallen into it at any point. Check.
Not at any point, no. This knife was removed from the crime scene and never seen by the Arts. That means it had been moved into the alley before Detective Reyes arrived on the 3rd floor.
But Chopin was impaled by the sword! We've all seen it!
Yes, but not fatally.
How could that stab wound not be fatal?
Because it was post-mortem.
You're basing this on the blood. Usually closely follows a stabbing, yeah.
It's the amount of blood, Your Honor. An impalement doesn't leave much blood at the scene because the weapon acts as a stopper. I assumed the amount of blood at the scene was the result of the sword being jostled afterwards, because the wound had been aggravated. But this knife turns that idea on its head. Yes, Chopin was stabbed in the heart, from behind, but it was most likely with this knife. He collapsed on the floor dead,
Then the knife was removed and his corpse was impaled with a sword in the same wound, leaving a mark on the floor. That's right, folks, this dead man was dead. Dude, and then he was dead even more after he got stabbed by the katana. The sword was only then moved around, increasing the wound size and masking the initial knife's entry wound. So, I also failed to say that Tariq Chopin, the guy that we're talking about, that's the cop. That's the one that we did not murder. We do not know how he got murdered. And we do not know who murdered him. The other four, yeah, we did it. While utterly soaking the floor in blood. It's a possibility. If I may, Your Honor. This may be just a possibility, but it's the possibility that makes the most sense to me. It explains the irregularities of the victim's substantial blood loss, the pattern of the wound, and the indentation on the floor. It might make medical sense, Dr. Sato, but the sequence of actions you described are not those of a rational human. But wanting to frame Sosuke for the murder seems pretty reasonable. And stabbing the corpse with his katana would be the best way to do that. Okay. They needed the katana to frame Sosuke. Raise. They didn't need the katana to frame... Dude, of course they needed the katana to frame Sosuke! They probably knew that he was gonna grab it! You make a strong argument, Dr. Sato. In order to frame my client for Chopin's death, they'd have to put his fingerprints on the murder weapon, the knife. They wouldn't need to stab the corpse with Sosuke's katana. They could have just put the knife in his hands. Uh-oh. Swapping out the murder weapon and disposing of the knife is 2 to 4 times as much work. That many more chances to make a mistake. It's nonsensical. Stabbing Chopin's corpse with a katana didn't help them frame Sosuke. So what did it achieve? It made a big mess some poor schmuck would have to clean up. Yes, that's... Chopin's blood nearly destroyed all the red ink dots at the scene. But who says that's a coincidence? What if Chopin was stabbed twice? Oh! Just so that his blood would cover up the red ink dots. This is insane. Makes sense to me. No, not your logic for the stabbing. This idea of yours that Tariq Chopin was part of some kind of conspiracy to defraud the city. Agreed, that is insane. I believe just the opposite. You... what? Tariq Chopin was an unpopular, straight-laced political aspirant, working as a cop only to improve his electability. His personality, his family, his goals, he'd have every reason to blow the whistle on Prop 492. And just get the whole project canceled? Leaving the lower wards in an underdeveloped lurch. A lot of people would hate to see that happen. A lot of blue bloods. But the son of 2 city councilmen wouldn't care. And an Ikaria like my client would be actively rooting for it. You think Chopin was murdered just to cover up the fact that Prop 492 had been corrupted? Just all that money left on the table, all the future money coming down the line. That's a much better motive than... What was it you proposed exactly? That my client saw a police officer and would rather stab him than have to explain why he'd killed his captors. Hello, Jimmy! Welcome! Something along those lines? So, like, what's going on now? Did Sosuke do it or not? That will be cleared up in very short order, Your Honor. With the help of our final witness. Uh-oh, who is it? Who did it? Who did it? Who did it? Got up for 20 minutes late? Oh no, that fucking sucks. I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, but now you're here. Now you get to relax. So Yori wasn't even really used to frame me. It was used to draw more blood from the wound to soak the papers. A very cold decision to make in the heat of the moment. Filing a corpse just to protect investments. Colder than stabbing someone in the back? In some ways. Didn't think that was up for debate. thank you for joining us again, Officer Rogers. Ooh, we're gonna say he killed him, huh? Who could it be? The mystery witness we can't see. Can you help me guess his mystery? My nephew called me my chosen. Oh, that's so cute. I'm so happy for you.
No problem. Where is everybody, though?
Well, after the shooting yesterday, I'd rather not risk the integrity or celerity of this trial by rescreening every member of the gallery when I've already cleared the room once.
Celerity?
Speed! Trial's gotta go fast, baby! And it takes everyone a while to find their spot in the stands again.
Celery. Yummy celery. We were almost caught in the line of fire not 24 hours ago, Officer Rogers. Yourself included. Surely you don't find the lack of an audience to be intimidating. Nah, guess not.
Where do we leave off with this guy, anyway?
I believe that lawyer over there had just accused my late partner of being on the take for the Blue Bloods. I was merely exploring a possibility raised by the witness's sworn statement, Your Honor. That he never heard any gunshots in the area himself. And I stand by that. Good.
Does the defense have questions for this witness, Your Honor? Or should we all continue to glare at one another for the rest of the day? Tempting. But I guess we'd better not.
Your Honor, we ask that the witness testify once more about how he and his partner arrived on the scene. Yeah, no problem. Repeat it as many times as you like. I'm gonna have to call you on that.
Oh, okay, Morgan, okay. Okay, Morgan, Weasel. Okay, Weasel. We headed for the nearest known Orca hotspot. Okay. Loud music up the stairs and there was a slam at front of the floor. Are you waiting for something, perhaps? Would it have been a quiet night? Is that what we're trying to... Is that what we have to call it? Ah, shit. Wait, I missed it. Mention, I feel many times by now that is a very unpleasant tone, Adonai.
Sorry. Butterfingers.
He heard no gunshots, but his partner shot off the lock? Well, it's more like, because someone was killed by the gun. So, you would have to hear gunshots for, you know, because a gun went off to kill somebody before they went in. Hasn't anyone ever told you it's in poor taste to use the same trick twice?
It's been a lot more than twice now. And besides, it's only an issue when it's used twice on the same audience. Speaking of which...
Oh!
You gonna answer that, Officer Rogers?
Oh, shit!
Just to fill you in, officer, what I accidentally pressed just now is a whistle found at the scene of the crime. Weird coincidence that my little slip-up coincided with your phone vibrating. Can you read us the notification you received just now? Or should the court computer simply force open all your devices and splatter your data across the walls?
Oh. Officer Rogers, you have a so-called receiver application installed on that device, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Is that in line with the department guidelines on use of third-party software on state-provided devices?
It's not breaking any regulations. Doesn't need to earn you any demerits to make you look guilty as sin. You and your partner, that is. Did Chopin also have the app installed? We can go check. If having that app on your phone makes you guilty of something, you'd have to arrest half the cops to join the lower wards. What do you mean? It's common knowledge that orcas use unconventional tactics to talk to one another. Flags on buildings, clothes left out online, smoke signals, probably even messenger pigeons.
Where? Where? jump scare me like that. When you gotta figure this statuesque, every pigeon is a disaster waiting to happen. Did pigeons poop on her, dude? Oh, no.
Anyway, whistles like that one are uncommon.
So, is it common for members of the police department to try to listen in on the chatter of groups of the Blue Blood Mafia?
There were wards on a place a cop walks into without every weapon they can carry. And that goes double for information.
So there's nothing suspicious about his phone reacting to that horrible, horrible racket? Adonai, have I had to put up with that noise for nothing?
Not for nothing. The witness is correct, Your Honor. There is nothing suspicious about having a receiver installed on any of your devices, even if you aren't a cop. What's incriminating is the fact that Officer Rogers' device responded to the specific frequency of this whistle. Sorry, officer. A little blue birdie already told the court that you need to input a frequency in order to get alerts for it. Yeah, I know that. So does the whole force, in fact. What?
I see.
The hell is she reading over there?
Officer Rogers, testify about this anonymous tip that the police department received last night.
Oh,
shit.
I haven't seen the submission myself, but it came through the department network straight to everyone's inboxes. Be advised, anonymous tip suggesting potential Orca analog chatter at the frequency listed below. Patrol officers in lower wards use this information at your discretion. That's absurd. What's the point of informing every cop in the city about a secret communications channel? The Blue Bloods would find out their line is compromised within minutes. Would they? I don't know. I don't control how anonymous tips get handled. But as soon as you got an email telling you there might be a criminal communications occurring at a random frequency, you tuned into it right away? Believe it or not, I'm a little concerned about criminal communications these days. Having seen my partner murdered by an orca right in front of me, barely 24 hours before nearly getting shot myself. Back up. You saw the moment of your partner's death. That's news to the court. You know what I mean.
Your Honor, the tip was submitted and the frequency was spread throughout the police department network. Likely because the Blue Bloods believed it to be compromised, having already been used at a scene where 4 of their members died. Officer Rogers may have the receiver app on his phone, but so do many other police officers in this city. The app doesn't provide timestamps of when frequencies are added.
So there's no proof of when his phone first started listening for the frequency.
Neither he nor his partner were members of the organized crimes unit. Therefore, they had no criminal informants of their own, and they could not have obtained this frequency before the rest of the department. Since the defense cannot prove that this signal was acquired illegitimately,
I never said I couldn't prove that.
And I Oh, wait! No, they frisked him and they didn't tie him for this, right?
The gun? What of it? Not just any gun, a Magus. Legally registered to Ankerton. And how do I know that? Because this gun was identified and scanned over a week ago, when Tanks was briefly detained by some well-meaning officers on patrol.
Hooray! Dude, I'm smart today. I'm getting stuff.
A report. Officers TC and HR reported the following. Subject in possession of firearm in violation of parole. And subject in possession of suspect communications software installed on personal phone. He wrote all of that in the report? You and your partner found the emergency frequency for Creek's pod over a week ago by skimming Tanks' phone. And sat on it until last night. And you kindly dropped it off in the tip box. The hell are you even saying? Why don't we frisk a perp, get good intel, and keep it to ourselves? For the same reason your partner might report a generic shots heard over the police network when he already knew exactly where to look. The same reason he'd be ecstatic at finding documents on Prop 492 at the site of an Orca bloodbath. You wanted your gold stars. You wanted to be first on the scene at the site of a blue blood massacre.
Ooh. Counsel is badgering, Your Honor, and losing her meager thread of logic in the process. The previous witness testified that there was, in fact, a silent alarm that night. A silent alarm that needs to be actively pressed. It could only have gone out before Creek's heart stopped. Said witness responded to the alarm by traveling on foot, and yet arrived well before Rogers and Chopin.
The lower wards are maze-like. She could have been closer.
That whistle has a limited range over which it can be received. You propose that Officer Rogers and Chopin were within that limited range at 9:45 p.m., yes? Obviously you do, or else they would have oh my god, or else they would never have received the frequency at all. So if person H is on foot and individual R is in a police car, and they both receive a signal at the same time, and a train leaves Appletown at 3 p.m. Not Appletown. That seems like an irrelevant factor. All the court need consider is this. How could Officer Rogers and Chopin have possibly arrived later than someone traveling on foot if all three were in that range? I can't believe I told my geometry teacher that none of this would ever be useful.
This isn't geometry, damn it. It's just logic. The fact is that they did arrive later than Han. If I'm right about the motivation for Chopin's actions that night, if he was sitting in his police car and suddenly got a notification telling him some blue bloods were having a life or death emergency, how would he react in that moment?
It would seem that the defense does not have evidence available to address this contradiction, Your Honor.
Evidence explaining exactly how Chopin proceeded to the crime scene.
Oh. Do we have that evidence?
Do we?
See, we do. Because of course, like, my Ace Attorney brain wants to say, yes, of course we do. But I don't want to lose my precious coins. Well, I have that evidence.
Of course I have evidence that explains this contradiction. I just have to go get it. Okay.
Oh, damn. Oh, no, even more. Oh, God.
Damn it.
my greed.
But sometimes living in a surveillance police state has its perks.
Pardon?
Like when you want to surveil police officers. The officer's patrol car, their cell phones, traffic cameras, and optics data. I could request any of it. Hell. Your Honor, I formally subpoena all of it.
What? What?
Can she do that?
I'm not sure. I'm still learning.
Reyes' drunken swipe at my front door reminded me exactly how much power the police have. But it was her beautiful checking in that made me realize just how hard it is to leave a cop in the sink. Whatever it takes to answer this question for the court. After Officer Chopin reported that he heard shots fired at 9:45 p.m., exactly how long did he and his partner do donuts in the parking lot before actually driving off to the scene?
I'm a big ask in the defense, but it's entirely doable. Do the people object? People, of course, object to any data collection effort. It would be a waste of taxpayers' money or a violation of their privacy. So we would prefer that the range of this request be narrowed somewhat. Narrowed perhaps from everything to something.
Happy to do that, Your Honor. I promise not to act like a kid in a candy shop I'm browsing through. If you do this, if you subpoena that data, you'll see me driving like a lethargic moron.
What? Officer Rogers? He seems different.
Hardly recognize him. Agreed. But I recognize his type. Soldier.
Oh, whoa.
Your Honor, what the defense is suggesting is largely accurate.
Pardon? That's a first.
Though there are some corrections I feel I should make at this time. No objections here. Officer Chopin is the one who discovered the frequency when we apprehended Uncle Khan. He entered it into both our receiver apps at that time without my knowledge. It wasn't until the night in question that he chose to inform me of the intel he had obtained, and how he planned on acting on it. At 9:45 p.m. we received a signal. Before I could react, he had put out a notice on the police network that he had heard gunshots. It was at this time that he told me to drive towards Blue Blood territory. As he started to explain to me what he believed he would find, I chose to take a suboptimal route. We spent several minutes in traffic as he berated me for my sense of direction.
So you both knew this silent alarm would lead you to some kind of blue blood emergency.
But only you realized that meant you should take your time getting there. Logically, a silent alarm is triggered during a confrontation, not afterwards. I had no desire to walk into the crossfire of an Orca gunfight without backup.
You could have had backup. Easily.
My partner had no desire to share our intel or how we obtained it. I apologize to the court, Your Honor, for being evasive or misleading during these proceedings, and I intend to take full responsibility for doing so. But I was not eager to admit the role my own cowardice played in these events. Nor would I ever want to imply that Officer Chopin was responsible in any way for his own murder. Very warm sentiments from the officer. Delivered with a voice as cozy as ice water.
So you're telling the court that you and your partner arrived at what you expected to be a bloodbath, and you still shut the lock of a door and started stomping around inside, while separated from one another?
Respectfully, ma'am, with the route I took and the time it took us to arrive, we expected to find all targets neutralized. And that expectation was reinforced when we arrived on the street, found the whole vicinity dead quiet. Yet we were still the first on the scene, despite my stalling for time. I think that might have enthused my partner. He was excited, and I let him set the pace. It's my deepest regret that I agreed with his request to split up. First to arrive on the scene, we know that wasn't the case. A blue blood got there well before you and your partner. That's what you were talking about?
The witness wasn't present for that individual's testimony. He's merely giving the facts he knows them. Oh, as he knows them. Hello, may telephone man. SoundCloud rapper type beat. I guess so. Dude, I think it's fire though. I hope you're having a good day. And you can't have known that there was a blue blood in the building.
On the contrary, he already testified about encountering them yesterday, as they made a not-so-silent retreat down into the alleyway. That was a blue blood making all that racket? I see. My partner, Chopin, he shouted that there was someone scrambling down in the alley not long before he was killed. He must have opened the windows on the 3rd floor to check.
That's a new detail, Officer Rogers.
Pardon me if I failed to mention it yesterday. It occurs to me you weren't present in the courtroom when this other curious detail was brought to light. The fact that there was another weapon at the scene of the crime.
A bloody knife, which somehow ended up down in the dumps.
Know anything about that? No, ma'am, I do not. Playing dumb? Wrong move. But I do know scientists is a bunch of amateurs with conflicted priorities. Explain this to the court, then. Forensic analysis has already shown that this knife was the murder weapon used to stab Miller.
Game.
Getting a healthy amount of his blood on it in the process. It's also been established that this knife must have been what my client used to cut his own bindings. If you say so. The evidence say so.
If the defense isn't interested in asking the witness questions, perhaps they'll answer mine. What does that have to do with Officer Rogers?
Everything, of course. Allow me to show you why.
Do you? Hey, maybe. Or it could be this. Hold on, let's try this first.
We know for a fact that Sosuke had to use that knife to cut his bonds. And Detective London has testified that Officer Rogers apprehended Sosuke alone. So why can't the officer who apprehended the man last known to be using this knife tell us how it ended up in the alley?
That is a question well worth asking the witness. Ooh, yeah, the art style is super fire.
I have no idea what you're talking about. When I found your client, he had the magus, and he had the sword. The sword he had stuck through my partner. This knife you're talking about. Where did you find it?
In the trash. Drum.
Sarah! Down the alley. Well, then some crime scene tech idiot must have thrown it out thinking it was bio-waste. Or some scientist lackey tossed it as a prank. I wouldn't know, because I spent hours being debriefed in that room on the 3rd floor while they set up the arcs. I spent all night in a room with my partner's corpse. Never took a trip down to empty the recycling bin.
We know the knife was with Sosuke at one point, and we know it ended up down in the alley later. So it stands to reason that someone had to walk it downstairs and out of the building. If Rogers never left that room all night, then someone else must have moved it.
Ooh. He could never move the knife. He could have removed the knife.
I mean, that's like... No, because the window was open, right? The window was open. He could have thrown the knife out at any time, I think. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared. Let's try it.
0 points for you!
0 points again?
All that processing power and you can't manage to think in 3D.
Oh, yay!
It doesn't matter if Officer Rogers stayed in that room all night, Your Honor. All anyone needed to do to dispose of the knife was step out into the fire escape and drop the knife down into the barrel waiting below. No need to leave the 3rd floor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No need to leave the crime scene at all, Officer Rogers. Kind of trick shot bullshit are you talking about?
The art style is in 2D. Haha. That is a long drop, Your Honor.
A straight drop. Gravity's convenient like that.
The target was a small drum in a dark alley.
Said drum was burning when the police arrived. The target would have been plainly lit and...
I've taken both your arguments into consideration. After much deliberation, I have come to the conclusion that the proposed method of removing the knife from the 3rd floor is not actually that hard to do. Assuming a modicum of hand-eye coordination and a basic understanding of Newtonian physics.
Well, obviously. Couldn't anyone manage that?
Practice martial artists who are masters of every muscle in their body. Individuals like yourself. And me. Might find it hard to relate. But there are some who would struggle with the task.
Yourself and I.
Okay, Morgan. Who asked?
Wait. Hand-eye coordination?
Eloquently put, Your Honor. So you must agree that someone with hand-eye coordination's so bad that they hold the record for worst marksmanship in the entire police department. Someone with such poor aim that they opted to physically assault a target rather than shoot them. Someone like that might find it impossible to pull that off.
Check. Oof.
Are you talking about me?
She's talking about me, Your Honor. And while I find her tone unflattering, none of what she said is false. Apologies that dropping the knife from the fire escape didn't occur to me as a possibility. It just must be that, for me personally, such a method of compromising a crime scene is not only unthinkable, it's impossible. Of all the stupid details to come back and bite me in the ass, the piss-poor aim that London mentioned.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough, bro. That's pretty rough. Is it possible that Officer Rogers faked his poor aim at the academy?
It's easy to not hit your target. But why would he intentionally flunk a shooting test years ago to give himself such a strange alibi here today? He didn't flunk his test. He got the very lowest score you could possibly get, while still being certified. Good lord. You'd have to be trying to... Yep.
If his goal was to receive the exact minimum number of points needed to pass, his margin of error would have to be much smaller than anyone simply doing their best.
But then, what about when he first saw me? It's true that any other cop who saw me standing over their dead partner would have just unloaded. Instead, he ran up and hit me. If he's not actually that bad of a shot, why am I still alive? That's the story Rogers has been telling so far, that he instinctually didn't bother to fire. His gun wasn't discharged and Sosuke's got the bruises, so we accepted that line of reasoning. But if I assume he's more dangerous than he's led us to believe, why wouldn't he have just shot Sosuke when he had the chance? He could have told his fellow officers whatever story he liked afterwards. And we wouldn't even be having this trial. I feared for my life. That's all he needed to say. Under what circumstances would it have been impossible for him to claim that? Your Honor, I'm reminded just now that my client and the witness were in a physical altercation. I apprehended a murder suspect, yes. Surely you aren't suggesting I used unreasonable force. If anything, you used unreasonably little. Not at all, but I imagine things happen fairly fast. Isn't it possible that a knife on Sosuke's person may have been knocked away into a corner during that moment?
What are you...
It may have. I can't say that I would have necessarily noticed something clattering onto the floor while I was trying to cuff a violent perp. Perhaps, Your Honor, the witness ought to testify about everything he recalls from the moment he confronted my client. Jogging his memory might be the only way we can address these gaps in our knowledge.
No objections. Then let's hear it. Good versus evil, man versus machine, cop versus robber.
I'm not a machine. Or a robber.
Don't worry, Siski. If need be, Ad and I would go through a whole trial just to prove you're a machine.
It's true. It's true. She would do that. Oh, what kind of joke is that?
Alright, Yoru, fire escape. It's okay. Interesting, okay.
The blue blood fled down the fire escape to the alley. I poked my head out the second floor window. Then I heard a sickening thump from above on the third floor where I knew my partner was. Reflexively, I drew my service weapon and rushed up the stairs, where I saw the defendant sitting over my partner's dead body. I was shocked, but he was clearly injured and the sword was stuck. Before I knew it, I was running at him. He turned to me with dull shock.
just as I whipped my pistol butt into his forehead. He collapsed after that, and the room was a mess. My blood was pumping. If he had dropped a knife at that time, I wouldn't have noticed it. I think it's No, it was. Go back. The sword was stuck? Interesting. Did this? No! No, don't get me! I am trying! No! I die. No, it was... enemy's records, right? Sword was stuck? Why would the sword stuck? Was it... Damn it! Damn it, I was doing so well! I was doing so well. Guys, please! There's a body I was shot. A sickening thump from above. I feel like I was on the right track. Oh! Wait. No? Dude, how am I missing this? Hello? Am I stupid? Dropped a knife at that time, I wouldn't have noticed it. I really wish I could just like I could just pause it to read it again. Poke my head out the second floor window. I knew my partner was. I drew my sword weapon and rushed up the stairs where I saw the defendant standing over my partner's dead body. I was shocked, but he was clearly injured and the sword was stuck. Before I knew it, I was running at him. He turned to me with dull shock as I whipped my pistol butt into his forehead. He collapsed after that, and the room was a mess. Wait, does he knew about the knife? I forget if he does or not. Fuck! Why am I so bad at this? No! I'm doing so good! My coins! My fucking coins! No, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm safe scumming. Fuck you. I'm safe scumming. Fuck, it was this far back? What did I choose? Did I? Wait, 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 wait. Oh, I'm gonna save now. Okay. It's weird that the fire escape is here. Like, I tried to do the sword was stuck, but like... Oh! Oh, I'm dumb! Hello? Hello? Why am I tanking all of a sudden? Hello? Why am I tanking all of a sudden? OBS, come back to me. Dude, what happened? What happened? Guys, help, help. The game just decided to take up like a lot of memory. Hello? What happened? Hold on, I did save. So just give me a sec. I'm gonna... Did that fix it? No? Girl, what? Is it lagging for you guys too? I wonder. I wonder. You can see me lag? Okay, well... It's a little better now. But even when the game was off, it... What's wrong, computer? What happened? What's wrong with you? It's okay. There's nothing going on. Hold on. Let me see. What is it called again? Task manager, duh. Dude, what is... OBS, are you okay? Okay, well, all my stuff isn't like... I wonder what's going on. Because it looks like it's just OBS that's boofing right now. Game Doko, well, game, I'm lagging for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why. I have no idea why. I don't know what to do. I gotta be completely honest with you. If it's not the game lagging my thing, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do here. Hey, hold on. Cause I touched grass earlier? Yeah, I guess, man. Hold on, I know I'm frozen. Give me a sec. Hello? No, I'm still dying. Help! Oh no, I didn't want to end the game there, but maybe I have to. I have to restream maybe because it's OBS. What What the heck, OBS? Why are you being so mean to me? Alright, y'all. Well, maybe if I don't know if this will work. No, it's just OBS is just poopy. Also, hello, you can hear my voice from the beyond. Huh. Yeah, I gotta be real with you. I don't know what's happening. Your background is also a little laggy, but yeah, it's OBS. Like it's OBS, unfortunately. So sadly, it looks like I'll probably have to call it. I don't like that I have to, but I probably have to. But thank you guys for coming. Because even if I go to like a new scene, it's still my model is still lagging. Even though on my computer, VTube Studio is working just fine. It's not lagging on there. I know. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties. Maybe it needs to be updated. We'll see. But I have got on for the regular amount of time, so perhaps this is okay. Well, I'm sorry that I have technical difficulties. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you to all the people that have been lurking. Next Monday, definitely look out for more of the devil. It seems like we're getting close to the end. Crossing my fingers, so we'll see. Yeah. Tomorrow, hopefully more Umineko. If not, I'll try to do something else. But the boys are divas, and it's hard to schedule with them. So we'll have to see about that. But either way, I hope you guys have a good night. Yeah, stream tomorrow. I'll see you then. Safe travels back from heaven, everybody. Be good people. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Mr. Telephone Man. Thank you, Jamie, for coming in. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.